Hello, everybody. It is Monday, September 25th, and welcome to this session of Azure Back to School. With me today is Tushar, and he is going to be giving a session on data exfiltration and preventing data exfiltration, actually, because we don't want that in Microsoft Purview. If you have missed any of the previous sessions, you can go to azureback2school.github.io. We've got 5 days remaining with plenty of content this week. And without further delay, Tushar, I am going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Hello, everyone. A very good morning, good evening, good afternoon from whatever time zone that you are joining in. And a very warm welcome for you all on day 25 of Azure Back to School. And today we are going to talk about a comprehensive approach, how we can save ourselves from any data exfiltration with Azure Purview. It was Microsoft Purview as well. My name is Tushar Kumar. I'm a cloud security lead working with Codec Ireland at the moment. You can find all my social channels on my website, theazway.com. You can find all my previous sessions and a few blogs that I do on specific topics. Okay, without getting more, we will start with what is the need. And before understanding the need, right, we have a quick case study. So what I call it is what happened to Contoso. And Contoso is a well-known organization. You know, all the Microsoft talks, all the blog posts, you might have seen Contoso there. So I have a quick scenario here. So there is a guy whose name is Bob, who is working with Contoso at the moment. Contoso and Bob is really into golf, and he has a lot of golf buddies. He meets a couple of people there, and while chatting with those, he discuss about a specific project. Okay, that project is a sensitive project for Contoso, and his buddy Peter asked, can he send some file over and can he share some details over to him just to see what all things are there? Just because the project is sensitive, it should not be that. Bob should not share all those documents to them. But still, just because his buddy asked, he decides to send those documents over to Peter. So what happens then is the mail has gone, your data is the Contoso's data, the sensitive project's data is sent over to Peter, and we get a compliance issue. We get an issue with our sensitive project details getting leaked, getting out of the organization. It doesn't matter if Peter is going to misuse it or not. If he is going to misuse it, that's going to be even further complications. But even if he is not using those, or if he is not misusing those, it's going to be a compliance issue for us. Okay. So if we look at the scenario, right, there was nothing that stopped Bob from sharing the data over to Peter. Okay. In this scenario, if we think of it, Contoso has no controls which will make sure that, okay, this document, this project is sensitive and we should not be sharing any files over to anyone outside the organization, or this should be only visible to certain people within the organization. And even within the organization, if this is getting shared to different departments, it should be properly protected. So what we can do, so Purview DLP is the functionality that Contoso needs. So if this scenario comes into picture where we are looking at a compliance breach, if we are looking at sensitive projects and we want to protect the data, we want to make sure that nothing is getting out of our organization without having a proper control, we can definitely control that with using Purview DLP. So what is basically the overall picture here is, okay, so when we are looking at from the perspective of your data, you need to understand what is your data. So basically, first thing is know your data, understanding the landscape that you have, understanding what exactly is involved within your data. Are you storing PIIs, personally identifiable information? Are you storing any I'll say financial data, kind of credit card numbers or any other sort? Is your organization following GDPR compliances? If you have to look at in terms of PCI DSS compliances, making sure that any data that you have at the moment is how you're going to handle that and what is the importance of that data. So basically now you have understanding of your data, that okay, I need so and so things. Okay, now you get into your data landscape and then you go for a protection. And usually what we do is, if it is sitting on a virtual machine, we do disk encryptions. If it is sitting on SharePoint, you are looking at encryption. If you are looking at if it is sitting on people's desktop, you are looking at confidential labels and making sure the data is protected and encrypted when it is stored. Now, the next thing is preventing it from data loss. So there is always a case like what we have seen in Contoso on the previous slide, right? There can be an accidental oversharing. Someone who don't know that, okay, I don't need to share this outside the organization, they can share that. Maybe some bad actors influencing some people with social engineering and sending out emails to send some data or sharing some information, they will be able to do that within organization as well. Just because you know the guy in finance and it is within organization, but still the data with what is confidential and what is sensitive, it should not be going to within departments. That is again another example of accidentally sharing or oversharing your sensitive information. So then you go for all the data loss prevention methodology, which is commonly called as DLP policies or DLP methodologies that we put in. And last, once you have all that, you are looking at the governance of your overall data. So if you have anything which is like a really old that you don't want, but it still has some confidential information, it should not be there. If you have something which is basically being stored, you need to make sure you have a proper retention of those, and also making sure that those retention, whatever you are doing, whatever data that you are retaining, it is recorded in compliant manner. So if you look at the Microsoft solution of DLP, it gives you a really wide range of support for the workloads. So all the way from non-M365 workloads to Exchange Online, going to your Teams, SharePoint, your endpoints, your non-Microsoft cloud products like Softbox or Dropbox, Salesforce, all of the places, it gives you full coverage over there. So it extended third parties and as well as your on-premises solutions as well. And all of that happens over a really comprehensive approach, and it will give you like a very flexible in terms of onboarding, in terms of making sure that you are getting proper alerting out of it and you are getting proper user experience as well. Because all of these, when we talk about DLP, right, the biggest worry is, and I remember long back, 3-4 years back, when it wasn't a Microsoft solution, but when we were talking about the DLP, and the first concern that any organization has came up with is, okay, if I'm implementing this, how it is going to impact my end users? Are they are they going to be blocked with doing their day-to-day activities? Are they going to get proper messaging in terms of, okay, what they need to do if this happens, and if they need to specifically share something, or we want to put some approval mechanism in the middle of it just to make sure, or some exemption, how we are going to do that? So from the user experience perspective, the Purview DLP solution gives you a full view of how you can make it customized messages for your users, make it easy experience in terms of onboarding, making the alerting for your SOC quite simple, and highly integrated with all the services that a day-to-day organization needs. Okay, so when I say easy onboarding, right? So this is just a quick screenshot of what we have, and basically you can get all the services and the cloud native services. It's basically simple as you do on your M365 workloads. You just pick and choose between services. You click, okay, I want Outlook, and we are going to see that in demos as well going forward. But you just have to pick and choose between, okay, I need Outlook, I need my SharePoint, I need my Teams, and you can just simply go with the policy creation, and it will give you a proper approach of that, and you get a step by step. What basically, it's kind of a creating a logic app, creating a logic between, okay, if this happens, what we are going to do, if you find this, what we are going to do. Okay. When we are looking at in terms of devices, your on-premises devices, as well as your specific endpoints as well. So from your user's laptop as well, if there is any data which is being shared or copy pasted from your Word, or it is going, there is a specific requirement of sticking with Edge, and it is coming on Chrome, and it is on Chrome one as well these days now with extension. But if there is any data that is getting copy pasted from Word to any website, it will definitely could give you a user warning as well. Okay. Now, this happened to me a couple of times when we are looking at in terms of migrating. So you might be having a semantic DLP, or if you have any other providers DLP, right? There is a specific tool that Microsoft has provided. It's called Microsoft Purview DLP Migration Assistant, which you can use to import your policies into Purview, and you can actually, while doing this particular migration, right, you can look at what all policies you have, and if there is any breaking changes, or if there is any like, let's say, if there is any issues with those policies, you'll get a simple view of, okay, this is the policy and what is the reason why it is not being it will not be able to be created on the Purview side. So you get a easy, like a guided process of migrating your existing policies as well, and it's all based on regular expressions. So you can actually play along with it how you want to match things as well. Okay, so the thing is, you have a unified way of basically applying the policies to different scopes. So as you can see on the screen over here, you have multiple scopes here, and this list is a bit of outdated over here, but it is increasing every time. When I see, so you can go with the Exchange, you can go with SharePoint, you can go with the devices, you can go with Teams, you can go with OneDrive, you can go with the third-party cloud services like Softbox and Dropbox, as I mentioned, and others as well. But the biggest advantage of this is when you're applying one policy. So maybe let's say you are applying a policy that is going to be for some sensitive project that you have within your organization. So the data should not be going anywhere. It should not be anywhere in any third-party cloud services, and you just want to target it whatever you have on your Exchange servers, and on your Exchange, and as well as your user devices and Teams only. So you can pick and choose between the targets and the scopes that you want to check, you want to protect with that particular policy, and you can have other policy around the same. You can have other policies applied to the other targets, and you can have multiple policies for the same scopes as well. Okay. Once you are further down in the policy creation, right? So there is a lot of pre-built, I'll say, in sensitive information types. So as you can see over here is we have the financial data. So there is multiple financial data patterns that you have there that you can match. So it's basically a templatized way of doing it. You don't need to worry about, okay, I need to make sure that, okay, this should be my EU social security number should be like equivalent to some 3 letters and then 5 digits. It should be like that. Or if it is something like of your financial data, like of your credit card numbers or maybe your employee numbers. So most of the things, like I'll say, it's a really, really huge database of templates that you'll find over here, which is either related to financial terms, which is either related to or related to medical terms, or related to the privacy, the likes of GDPR, personally identification data, and a lot of EU regulations that you will find, as well as if you are looking from US perspective, there is a lot of around social security number, your medical number, and all those things will be covered within the existing templates. If you don't want to use the existing template and you want to do a DIY kind of thing, or maybe if you are specifically looking for for classifying a project or your internal project, which is maybe named as Project Alpha, Project Delta, or something like that, in that case, this will be a custom policy. So you can create a custom policy, you can create a custom rule for that. And in any case, let's say if that pattern matches, it will create an alert, and as well as whatever the rules that you will have applied over there, it will give you an alert based on that. Okay. So, and when we are looking at any like DLP solution, so what the biggest thing is, you have to look at a separate portal for your overall DLP matches. So what you get is with Purview here, you get it integrated with your Defender stack as well. And also you have API support to integrate it with your SIM. So if your existing SIM, if you have let's say any third-party SIMs that you want to use, it will be quite easily integrated with the APIs. And if you have Sentinel, it is pretty much extendable with Sentinel. So there is a available workbooks that you can use for Sentinel, and you can integrate it with your Purview DLP solution as well. So from the overall SOC perspective, right, you are getting all your alerts at a single place. You are getting all the different and all the capabilities around integrating with your existing solutions, and as well as integrating with Microsoft native Sentinel solution as well. Okay, we talked about integrated user experience, and probably will not be able to cover all the scenarios of what all we have in terms of user experience. But when we look at specifics of, okay, someone is trying to do, if you're trying to share some data on Slack, let's say here in this example, and if you're trying to paste some sensitive data, or you're trying to paste some sensitive data from a Word file or something like that, what it will do is, and the example over here, because we need a specific extension to be installed on Chrome and all, but it is natively integrated with Edge on your system. So when you try to share, you will clearly get what is the message, what you want to share over here. And also this message is customizable. What you can do is, while creating that policy, you have a capability to go through the process of customizing the message that what the user is going to see. So maybe you can put on an approval mechanism, and when you do want to share this, if it is required to be shared externally or whatever location that you want to share it, you can go with the process and you can do that. And if someone approves that, it will go through. Or otherwise, you can put in your I have seen customers doing that. You can put in your service desk or your support desk's email over here, which will say, okay, go to service desk, and then ask them what is the process of sharing those. Okay. And same if you're sharing anything, you have an option, and you can, as you can see over here, same thing is it is going to be based on the settings that you have. You can put in an option to either enforce it, or you can put in an option for provide an option to the users to override the policy as well. Still, it is going to generate an event. It is going to generate an alert that, okay, this user tried to share this information, or this user tried this sensitive information to move somewhere else, but the user was prompted and the user overridden the policy. Okay, so what you are going to get in terms of that is you are going to get at least a proper audit history just to go through it, that okay, some user has shared this and it is shared, it is overridden by the user, even though if it is if they have they were notified that this is a information that you should not be sharing. Okay, same goes for anything that you are doing in chat. So let's say you can apply the restrictions for internal users. You can apply restriction for external sharing. So maybe let's say in this example, as you can see, right, you have a message getting blocked for just because it has a credit card number. And if you look at this one closely, right, so if you're familiar with Teams, you don't send messages like this on Teams, right? It's not layout. By the looks of it, you can tell that this is an image that is shared by this user. So basically, the user Rebecca wants to share an image that contains credit card number, that contains a couple of sensitive information over here, which you should not be sharing to another person based on the policy that we have defined. So what happened here is, when you look at this, there is a functionality that you can enable within Purview, which basically uses the OCR functionality. So which basically uses the cognitive services, looking at pictures as well for any sensitive data, and within that, based on the OCR results, it will decide that to block that message or not block that message based on the policy. Okay. On the right hand side over here, you have another person trying to share a couple of things. Okay, and the message that he gets is, whatever you're trying to share, it cannot be shared to and outside of the organization. And you can say either, okay, I want to override this just because my manager has approved this, or if there is any other justification, the user has to put some justification if he wants to override. And if he realizes after that, okay, whatever the data that I'm sharing, companies, and basically the data is related to companies' financial details, then in that case, you need to make sure that you cancel that and you go back and you see what exactly that you're trying to share. Okay, so this is more of looking at from the user perspective. And now, if you look at this from, let's say you have a file and you want to share. So we usually share files on our SharePoint sites. So the likes of external users, we usually just type in the usernames and we send it through them, and let's say if we don't realize that there is some data sitting into it, there is some sensitive data in the end of the document, or maybe at some part of the document which is present there, and it should not be shared to someone else. In that case, what happens is you get straight away prompted with this kind of message, which says this item contains a sensitive data. And even if you try to copy from here to somewhere else, which is not an specific which is not an allowed location, what will happen is you will get again the DLP notification from your Windows itself. Okay. So yeah, so overall, from the overall perspective, right, and as I believe I have covered this already. So what you get is a content-centric approach. So based on the content, you can enforce your DLP policies, you can apply and there is certain different features that comes, and we are just talking about e-discovery at the moment. Sorry, we are just talking about DLP at the moment, but the Purview stack is huge at the moment, I'll say. You have e-discovery, you have insider risk management, you have uh, different data sensitivity labeling solutions. So it's basically, it's a huge stack, but it works in the combination of a lot of things. So if you have a proper data sensitivity labels defined as well, it becomes really easy for you to apply the DLP policies. Also, with this basically with the DLP policies applied, and it becomes really easy for us to apply the insider risk management as well, and which is another service that helps you out. Taking an example, so let's say if you fire someone, or maybe if some employee is leaving, and the day he put his final resignation, within those 3-4 days of his handover process, we we have seen some sort of, let's say, let's say behavior which is not a regular behavior, that can be captured, and the sensors can give you a notification around, okay, this particular employee is trying to get some data for his next job, maybe. Okay, so here we will look at a quick demo of what we have just talked about. I will just move to the other screen. Okay, so I will share my entire screen, and I will allow that. So perfect. Okay, so where do you manage your overall Purview stack? So basically, this is the URL, compliance.microsoft.com. That's where you have all your Purview details and all your Purview policies and everything defined. So you have communication compliance, you have it, as what I was talking about, it's a big stack that we are talking about. So you have DLP, you have e-discovery, you have data lifecycle management, information barriers, insider risk management, and as well as the Priva stack is also coming in. So you have all the way from maintaining your compliances to, and DLP is just a part of that, and I'll say just a subset of that. So you will see basically you will see data loss prevention over here. And what you have within data loss prevention is a couple of options where you can see the policies, where you can see the alerts coming in, and you can see the endpoint DLP settings as well. So basically there is specific settings for your for your Windows and Mac endpoints and devices that you have, and you can set what all things that can be shared over a network and not. So we will talk about that in if the time permits. But looking at specifically, so what we do is, in terms of creating a policy, so creating your first policy will be, you go on to compliance.microsoft.com. This is going to be your only point for managing everything. And within that, what you are going to get is data loss prevention, and within data loss prevention, you will get the policies. So I have a default teams policy, which is I'll say a good example to look at. We'll look at that once we have gone through the options that we have specifically over here. So as I was saying, there is tons and tons of templates. So likes of enhanced templates, where you can see the Australian health records, US health records, etc., etc., etc. You have a lot of it in here. From the financial data perspective, since every country has a different regulation and a different format of data. So you have for Canada, Australia, France, Germany, Saudi Arabia, and a lot of that, US Federal Trade Commissions, all of that financial kind of data that you will find there. Any sort of medical and health related. So there is per certain templates. This is a developer tenant actually. So it has really less ones. But if you go on if you go on your Purview portal, you will find a bit difference from this one. Same, if we go for privacy, you have Australian privacy, you have Canadian personal identification data, you have France data protection, etc., etc. So it's like filled with different templates that you can use. So let's say if I have to go with the UK Data Protection Act, and I can go with it. I can give it a name after this. So let's say for my Contoso organization, this is just identifier name, same as what we have seen in the last page. As that was a default policy for teams, what we have created. Now, basically, you can add or remove that where this policy is going to be assigned to. So maybe you can restrict it to a specific portion of the user. So let's say you have a portion of remote users, right? And you don't want those remote users to do certain things. So you can you can add a certain admin, you can create an Active Directory group, and that is going to be on your Entra ID as your Active Directory. You are going to create a group, and you can apply the policy, and you can restrict the policy to a specific set of users as well. But here we'll go with the full directory at the moment. I don't have a group created. Now, as we discussed, we have certain different places that we want to, and it's called basically the scopes that we can apply. So these scopes we have over here, which is basically Exchange Online and your SharePoint sites, your OneDrive. If you want to include someone and exclude someone, so let's say you want to, let's say, okay, I want sales and marketing to be included in this, okay, and I want to exclude anything with retail. Okay, so any retail, at any which way, the retail ones will be included, and if you want to exclude it further down from that, then you can exclude as well. So if I can keep it all, and I can keep it, I can exclude one from there. So same goes for all the other locations that we have, SharePoint sites, OneDrive accounts, or any Teams messages, or anything. We can go with that. Then comes the policy settings. The policy settings over here, just because we have gone through the process of picking a template. So what we have over here is we are getting already the UK national insurance number, UK passport number, or any SWIFT codes. So it's basically coming as predefined because we have picked a template. But you can go with the create a customized DLP rules, and what you can do is you can create advanced DLP rules. So let's say these all things what we have, we want to edit that. Okay, so let's see what we have in the UK one. Okay, so the UK national insurance number, and we are saying there are three steps: low, medium, and high confidence. That basically, when you are doing the pattern matching, even if the confidence is medium, you are not getting 100% match of that. So still you want to flag that okay, this can be a UK national insurance number, or this can be a UK passport number. So in that case, you will be going with medium or low. So it totally depends on how strict that you want to be with, or how mature your regular expressions are going to be. You can you can specifically mention that, okay, this is what we want. And sorry, yeah, so we'll go back here. That's my want. Okay, yeah. So, and you can put in, and as I mentioned, if you have worked with logic apps, it's basically something similar like that. So you did this, and then you do and you want to do, okay, this and this. Like if there is anything that is matching, I want to see if it is going outside my organization, or I can do and only within my organization. So what will happen is anything that is getting shared outside on Teams chat, Teams channels, or SharePoint or OneDrive documents, it will get in there. You can add further down conditions as well. It is not visible over here at the moment because we have picked a template and we are not going with we are going with that. You can also add in exceptions, that what kind of exceptions that you want to put in. You can put in another action. So let's say so if there is anything that is being matched with the particular example that we have done, what it will do is it will block the users, okay, from that one. And you can say, okay, block everyone. So the users will not be able to access wherever you have tried to do that. And let's say if you've tried to share that on Teams over a message or something, it will get blocked, and the end user will not be able to see that. Okay. Also, if you want to make a specific list of people who should get notified on these, you can just pick and choose. But okay, I want these people to be notified, or you can put in your SOC email over here, who will be notified directly when any of these conditions get met. So that basically creates that. And also, and also you can put in the priorities of the rules. Every rule will take a specific priority, that which one will be evaluated first. So that's the way we create all the policies. And you can pick and choose between multiple policies. You can, within a policy, you can pick and choose between multiple rules. You can create a number of rules within a single policy. So what I will do is I'll go back from here and I'll go with the review customized. So this was more of a customized look of this. Now, okay, yeah, this one. Okay. Yeah. So basically, the options that we have seen, even though if you go with the existing ones, right, you need to specify on your templates as well that, okay, what is the action that if that template matches, right, what is the action that you want to take. So if it is a specific action that you want to take from blocking it, or if you want to restrict the access, or you want to just notify, or you want to make it override option, all of those will be covered over that. You can also restrict the third-party apps. So as we mentioned, right, and on the first plane, we didn't have any third-party apps for those. So if there is anything that goes, okay, let's say for on Box, on G Suite, on WebEx, on Salesforce. So these are the options we have available at the moment. You can specifically do that. Okay. I will just go and remove this, because this will start asking me for further information. Now, once you have created the policy, right, and you're in the end of create policy creation, the option that you get over here is three. First one is you can try it out first and then apply it. When you do try it out, it's not gonna impact any of your users. What it will do is it will start sending about the policies alerts, and you'll start seeing how it is in action. The other option is you can do it, you can turn it right away. So this is basically enforced. If you worked with Azure policies, there is always an option to put it in an audit mode. So this is basically an audit mode for this one, and turn it on is going to be enforced. So it will start taking effect in your organization. It will start whatever scope that you have picked in, it will start doing that. And the last one, keep it off. That's a self-explanatory one. So if you have anything that says if you keep it off, it will not be impacted. Maybe once you get approval from your management, you can go with this one. Last, evaluate, and then you can submit this one and it will be ready. Okay. And it takes a little bit of time to take effect in your actual organization. So once you create this, it is not going to be straight away the moment you hit create. So if someone tries to send that, they will be stopped. It takes a bit of a time to go through this and basically start taking actions on any sort of policy matches. We will look at this policy, and it's a very simple policy. That's the reason we have it here. So I will go in here and I'll try to edit this one. Okay. So the policy that you have here is, I'll give you a quick brief of this policy. So what it does is, if anything that anyone tries to share any credit card numbers on any of Teams channel, right? And if they wants to do any Teams chat and on a personal chat, if someone is sending any credit card information, you want them to get blocked. Now you have to decide between you want to block them from sharing credit card numbers outside the organization, or you want them to block sharing inside organization as well. Okay, so you have a policy, you have a policy created. Within that policy, you need to make sure, okay, who all will be impacted from this one. And I'm saying everyone should be impacted with this. Everyone should be stopped from from sharing credit card information over Teams. So that is going to be another piece. Now, what are locations that we want? Only Teams. We don't want anything else, OneDrive or anything else. So anything that is going to be on Teams, you will not see that. You will be blocked from that, and you'll get a message that you should not be sharing this. And in the rules, if we take a look at this, okay, what happens here? Okay, so what I have here is, even though if it is a low confidence, so low confidence will be like, I believe, if there is any 16-digit code numbers you are sharing, maybe it can be I'll say it can be any software key which is 16-digit. Still, if it looks like a credit card number, you will be blocked. So the confidence rating, right, it's basically full on what is the confidence from looking at that particular expression, and we're looking at whatever message has been shared, that what exactly how much it is matching to that. Okay, and always the recommended comes as medium confidence, that you are not being very much strict about it, or you're not being very much lenient about it. So in this case, low is very much strict, wherein we are saying even if it is at lowest confidence, you don't have confidence, it is a credit card number, still make sure the users will not be able to share it. Okay, you can add in a further, like let's say if it is credit card numbers and maybe and physical addresses. So these two things should not be. So basically these are the add and relationship. So if there is anything like that, what is going to be your action? So my action is block everyone. So what is going to be is, if you are sending that information on Teams, you will be prompted, and you'll get a message that the content is blocked and you should not be sharing that. And you can make sure the user gets notification, or maybe you can do it two ways. You can just switch this one off, and what will happen is users will not get notifications. But here what you can do is, you can put in a notification which says, okay, I am sending out this notification. And you can also provide a customized tip here, which is basically, if you go here, you can put in contact your service desk. Okay, you want to change that, you can put in anything that you want there, or maybe a link to something you can put in there. Okay, and here is basically allow override from M365 services. So if you have users and you want to give them permissions to override, you can give them permissions to override, and what will happen is it will just send the notification. Now, how do you want to handle those incidents? So if there is someone tries to share some sensitive information, and maybe this one, what we are doing here is a very simple rule, right? That, okay, someone tries to share credit card information. It is not It is not something that is going to harm the organization on a bigger level. So we can say, okay, let's say it is a medium level incident, and we can make sure that the incident alerts that goes in, it goes with the medium severity. Okay. Same, we have same, we have multiple options in terms of these policies, like just not on the severity level, but we can pick and choose between, okay, the content is matched, or who has modified it last. So all of those information will be collated, and it will be included in the alert email. So now we have the overall rule ready. So this rule is ready to be implemented. You can say, if we are doing it, turn it right away, and we have it already up and running. So we'll see it in action, what happens. So when you're doing this, and you can see over here, I have two examples. So if I try this, so this one, if you can see, so this one is, it says, okay, organizational management. Oh, I'll just copy this credit card number. Okay. So when you say card number and when you send it, what happens over here is your card number is sent, your DLP policy kicks in, and it says, okay, your message is blocked. You might say, okay, you have card number here, and still, and that's why it picked, okay, you're sending card number. But let's say if I'm saying something XYZ, and then sending this same 16-digit code, again it gets blocked, because the pattern matching is what it is doing, is it is matching this card number. And if I try to do that, maybe with spaces here, so let's see what happens. It gets blocked. So it basically, what it does is, it matches the specific pattern, and it is intelligent algorithm now, whatever it is in whatever the templates that we have there. And your any sort of messages that you are sending, and it is, since we have applied it for the overall organization, if I'm sharing it to anyone, if I'm trying to share it with anyone, it is getting blocked over here. And you will see what you can do, whatever message that you set, you will see there. And basically, since we didn't save what we edited on the previous window, right? It is basically going to give you a predefined message that, okay, this is conflicting with the policy of your organization, and you can report it to your admin, and you can do a report here. So all of that will be coming in. Okay, all of that will be coming in your alerts. It takes a little bit of time. I believe in my case, I have auditing not enabled at the moment, but you can see all the policies. You can see all the alerts over here, and also it all goes. You can see it big green, right? So it all goes in Defender M365 Defender portal as well. So you can go in the incident pages over here, and you will see all the policies that is kicked in from M365 from the DLP as well. Not sure, this is the developers subscription, so sometimes it takes a bit of time. Okay, so this is more of how we do it. Now, there is one great resource that we have here, and I thought it will be really worth sharing this. It's called aka.ms DLP Interactive Guide. So what you can do is you can just use this link, aka.ms DLP Interactive Guide, and it will take you to an interactive guide of Purview DLP. So whatever I have discussed today, you can go through this with the first module over here. You can just pick and choose between these. What it does is it gives you a full, I'll say, an interactive experience.
In this interactive guide, you'll learn how to create a data log.
Stop this. Okay, yeah, you get this, and what you do is you do next, and the follow screen prompts. You can simply follow the screen prompts that you get. Okay, let's say I want to do data classification. I can go on the sensitive labels, and you can search for here whatever it says. Okay, licenses, So I want to pick, okay, you want me to clear this. You can search box your acquisition. So whatever that you want to do is you can go in here, you can go in policies, what we did just now, and automatic file protection, and then we go into create policy. You have the same options. You can go in financial data, etc., etc. So this basically gives you a full prompted way of creating a policy, looking at it, and what you can follow within your organization, looking at all the services, what is there, and looking at the existing templates that you have, and as well as creating templates, creating your own custom policies as well within the DLP policies over here, by going through the process of custom, and we go custom policy, we go next, we give it a name, and then we configure all the policy settings on the next. Here we start creating the custom policies. We start creating your first rule, which is going to be first condition. If the content contains default, the group name, you can give it default, and any of these, let's say all of these. And then we start adding sensitive information type, and then you can add in here whatever information type that you want to add in. So that's how you create a custom policy, and you go with this. Okay, so the interactive guide is, I'll just leave it on the screen for a second, which is aka.ms DLP interactive guide. I find it quite useful if you're starting with the DLP policies, and if you're looking at a couple of options, what you can do around DLP. So with this, I believe I will conclude my session here. And if you want to connect with me, I am available on LinkedIn and Twitter, and as well as you can find my profile on my blog post as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tushar. Appreciate your time, and appreciate your presentation. So thank you. Great information. Yeah, I've used those little quick click through videos before. Those are nice for things that you can't really demo completely within your own tenants. A lot of times those are nice, especially for a lot of those Microsoft 365 Purview like policies and labels and things. So thanks for sharing that, and thanks everybody for your time today, and thanks to you, Tushar, and everybody else for their contribution for Azure Back to School.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Hope to see you soon.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Yep, have a great day.
All right.
Bye.